The anime genre of horror is not so common because it is heavy and psychological scarring is possible. Tokyo Ghoul therefore made a significant move for the anime horror when it became sufficiently popular to play its own video games and live-action films. His manga was known as a bestseller in Japan, and Hot Topic sold shirts and wallets with their characters before we knew it. If you want Tokyo Ghoul, you can check out here a list of other shows. These are possibly even better than Tokyo Ghoul for some anime fans. Future Diary is a novel, also known as Mirai Nikki, in which various people take on the god's title aggressively in a survival game. Each competitor has a diary, and their objective is to destroy one another. Yuki is an incredibly bad character, emotionally and mentally. However, because she has feelings for him, he finds himself capable of manipulating a psychophytic child, Gasai. She is a keeper of a diary too. When you go to this exhibition, the less you know, the better. The tale is told in waves, which are all linked by a big glimpse. You can tell that a boy, Kiichi Mibara, is moving into a rural town and his classmates' friends and is heading for a great start. But when he finds out the city has a grim past and lots of secrets, he is infected with paranoia. His friends start acting suspicious, and from there the show is just a wild ride. This is also an anime OVA for the Corpse Party video game. The 4-episode OVA follows the game's plot with a unique and horrific turn at the end. The game stands by itself as a colossal horror preceded by a fantastic cult. However, to enjoy this anime, you do not have to play the game. No exhibition is needed as it begins at the start of the story. The tale? A group of young people are spirited into a haunted primary school to find a way out. Another's Tale was a mystery horror novel originally adapted with a manga and the anime. The story is about a student who moves to a new middle school in Koichi Sakakibara. For many reasons everyone in the class is slowly murdered, and he and his mate, Mei, discover that the cause might be paranormal. The less the better, the more a mystery spins. Certainly, it's also a show of horror with a lot of violent imagery, particularly if something goes buck wild. The original Danganronpa anime is not listed because it is paler than its excellent game. The games are the start place if you want to join the series. The original anime tells the story and does not encourage you to explore, confront your favorite characters, trials or something else that makes the story interesting. The original anime is bad. However, Danganronpa 3, with no game counterpart, is the conclusion to the thrilling mystery horror game series. It has good pacing and it's not a game because it does not have the murder mystery trials. A distinct formula than other gruesome anime, Hell Girl leads. Every episode tells another story, which leads to revenge for a character. It is a Hell Girl, which is a spirit that bring the adversary into hell if you are willing to surrender your soul's future when you die. You are all linked with one another. In all these little ones, there is also an overall story. The big question. Who's Hell Child, for instance? With several different powers and individuals, she also has paranormal servants. The overall plot is their interesting stories. This anime is very different from the other ones mentioned because it is also a fantasy of action adventures. It's also so mysterious that, like those genres, it merits horror. It can be difficult for the emotionally sensitive to observe this animation for its gore and graphic brutality. A quick taste of how the main guy, Guts, was born gives this anime a place in a catalog of horrors. He's been born from a hanging skeleton. But yeah, it's not just family television. This story is a connector between dark science fiction and horror. The tale is about a creature known as Declanii, which looks human except the little horns on its heads. What's terrible, however, is the invisible guns on the backs of Declanii that have the power to hinder, break, or do something. The number and length of the invisible arms are one of its only limits. They are a huge threat to mankind, as one might imagine. All these informations are taken by the anime and a tragic love tale. If you knew that you like Tokyo Ghoul but never watched Death Note, your fan's anime jaw will drop. Death Note is a classic animation. His horror is based not so much on violence but on psychology. Light Yagami, a clever reader, finds a notebook in which the name of everyone who writes in the book die. It's a death god's book that dropped it and wanted to look at it. Light takes the concept of making good use of this book by killing all criminals. However, is justice ever so clean and true? This is a vampire anime, and don't worry, it certainly isn't a novelty. In reality, it's about an all-out war filled with death between human and vampire. It's happening in a small village where many people unexpectedly die suddenly. Soon we discover that they're not gone, and something else is happening. The most significant thing about the show is how the situation is treated by various characters. Some of them are on the hand of vampires, and others are their own creatures. However, be prepared, this show is very long.